Well, here we are. Less than a week since the EBU's General Assembly, where Eurovision has changed for the worse. Yes, it sounds alarming, I know, but it's been a long time coming, I think. Now, this video is going to be very rough and ready. I don't have any script. I have a few notes that I'll go through, but I feel like I'm done, or more or less done. This channel was basically set up to do Eurovision reactions. I don't feel like doing that anymore. Really, I had been thinking before last week about whether I would do Eurovision reactions in 2026. I had earmarked 2026 as being my final season as a, Euro fan media. Not that anyone watches half my stuff anyway, but I've been doing a podcast for the last 10 years with my partner, Danny Tregoning, who you may know at Eurovision Hub. A lot of fan creators have in recent days sent out statements, and we ourselves as Wind Machine Podcast issued one earlier today. But I thought I'd have a video just to let my thoughts out and take my gloves off, so to speak. I've been very neutral here, very pleasant about the contest, but last week, like a lot of you, really changed my opinion about the EBU. I was very pro EBU. I welcomed Martin Green. I thought he would be a good change from the Martin Osterdahl period. So I had a good thing, hoping that it would improve 2026. I've been to Eurovision 4 times now. First, ironically enough, in Tel Aviv in 2019. I'll get into that shortly. I'd missed out on Turin for financial reasons, but I managed to go to Liverpool, which was fantastic and the best one yet. I went to Basel this year and Malmö in 2024, which was the worst. I don't want to repeat Basel anytime. I don't want to repeat Malmö anytime soon. Basel was actually not too bad, so we'll give that a pass. So, cut a long story short, I won't be doing YouTube reaction videos this season. I had already earmarked 2026 as the final season I would be doing any YouTube content for Eurovision. And as many of you may know now, Wind Machine Podcast will be ending in 2026, probably towards the end of that year anyway, because we do have quite a number of episodes. But in terms of YouTube, no YouTube reactions, but I'm leaving the door ajar because I think there's still some room to talk about the EBU's handling of Eurovision and how it handles it going forward into 2026. Now, we've had some great videos from Stuart McLean, from Gabe, and a few others that have really, pushed the boundary and held the EBU to account. And I feel that's all I've got to give at the moment. I can't consciously be happy about doing YouTube reaction videos. So if there's any content coming out of this channel, it's going to be heavily critical of the EBU and how it goes in 2026. But I have no concrete plans, so I'm just leaving that door ajar. But it's safe to say the gloves have finally come off, and I'm not going to take any more crap. So my opinions about what's been happening in Israel, and not only for Eurovision context, but in the wider geopolitical sphere. I've been following the conflict, if you would say, since 1992. Yes, I'm bloody old. So yeah, 33 years or so since I really became consciously aware of the conflict. And over the years, I've had a sort of nuanced view, apart from a few things. Obviously, I don't get it out there, my views on Hamas, I do not condone anything they do. So any Zios out there that think I'm a Hamas supporter because I'm critical of Israel, go fuck yourself. Honestly, as I said, gloves are off. I've been critical of Hamas. I've been critical of the Israeli government. I absolutely cannot stand Benjamin Netanyahu. I think, and I have thought this for many, many years before a lot of you even knew about the conflict, that he should be tried as a war criminal. Now, add to that Smotrich and Ben Gvir, who are absolutely evil scumbags. So this last year, I felt that my nuanced view has taken a bit of a beating. As I said, I went to Israel in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem in 2019 to see the contest and to experience Israel. Now, to be fair, Israel, within its official boundaries, is a beautiful, beautiful country. Tel Aviv is stunning. The people, a majority of people, are fantastic, and they were very welcoming. But there was always an air of propaganda. There was everyone, well, all the media that, including myself, that were there as press accredited in Tel Aviv, we always felt that we were being watched. There was always an air of reporters, Israeli reporters, whether they're Can or any other, or was it Can then? Yeah, it was Can. So whether it was Can or any other of the broadcasters and media outlets in Israel would always try to get anybody else to say positive things about Israel. So that would get onto their television sets, the radio stations, to say, oh, all these, media and press and tourists, they love Israel. And that's just part of the way of life there. But as I experienced, there's that side, the propaganda side. But there's also the normal side that a lot of people don't understand. It is, for want of a better term, a democracy, so to speak, with a little bit of fascist tendencies, I might add. But that's my view. That's from my view. Getting into and out of Israel was a fucking nightmare. And that's just me as a white man. I got detained briefly leaving Tel Aviv simply for having a stamp of Kuala Lumpur. Obviously, because Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, is a Muslim-dominated country, so apparently I must have red flagged something simply because of a stamp. But that's nothing compared to what you see outside of the official borders of Israel. The West Bank, the Israeli settlers fucking taking over, pushing Palestinians out of their homes. Obviously, the Gaza conflict. Gaza genocide, I should say. Yes, I said genocide. It took me a while to get there. If you think it's not a genocide, I don't know what else to tell you. The UN has said it's a genocide. The ICJ has said it's a genocide. It fathoms belief. There is a lot of cognitive dissonance from a lot of predominantly conservative viewpoints regarding that. I won't go into that too much. This is primarily going to be about Eurovision and what I think of it now. So setting aside my views, you can like my views, you can hate my views. I don't give a flying fuck. I'm old enough, I can take care of myself. It's my view. I've witnessed over 30 years. I've been there. I can make my own mind. I'm not taking any propaganda from either side of the fence. I can make up my own mind. So this week, when the question of Israel's participation in Eurovision was meant to be, I guess, decided upon or brought up, and they had, the EBU provided the vote changes for the broadcasters to accept or reject, on the provision that they assumed there would be a vote on Israel's participation. But as Gabe and Stu and many others have already pointed out, that that was basically a trap. So a catch-22, if you will, where the broadcasters had to essentially reject the vote in order to get potentially a vote on Israel's participation. But obviously, most broadcasters wanted those changes because they could see the manipulation that had been happening in the last couple of years. So obviously it passed. Now, I believe Spain had asked the EBU and 7 other broadcasters asked to have a vote on Israel's participation after that, and the EBU denied it, even though I think Stu said it's in the rules or constitution that brought up 5 or more broadcasters who can bring up a request for a vote, and denying that. Now, I can't say I'm not surprised. Like a lot of things in the world today, and I'll say this bluntly, Israel gets away with murder, literally and figuratively. Over the last 30 years, I've witnessed Israel basically get away with a lot of things. And they've received favourable treatment. So I wasn't surprised. Whether you like that or not, it is a fact. And I'm not saying there's any conspiracy or anything like that. I've seen it. And so it's no surprise that, the EBU didn't want to address the elephant in the room. And the whole point of the rule changes were to deal with what Israel had been doing. The government-sponsored advertising, the astroturfing of the vote. So the rules will change, different votes, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, I don't think it'll make much of a difference. But it's not just the rule changes, but how this whole vote or non-vote came to be. Martin Green talks about using the contest is impartial, apolitical, neutral, blah, blah, blah. It's never been that. It's always been political. We know that. To say otherwise is ridiculous. And you cannot ignore geopolitical events, such as the ongoing genocide. Yes, it's ongoing. Ceasefire be damned. That's clearly not happening. Yeah. When you see the Austrian head of ORF go to Israel and meet with the Israeli president, not the president of the broadcaster, the president of the country, to talk about Israel's participation, that's political, right? A lot of Zios are saying, Spain, Netherlands, Iceland, Slovenia withdrawing. That's all. Stop playing politics. Israel started it first. So go suck on it. But, yeah, you don't get the president to interfere in this. That's clearly political. It's clearly trying to, what I talked about before when I was in Israel, about trying to get Israel's image to be in a positive light, because clearly it's taken a hit the last couple of years. So where does that leave me? Well, I haven't been that excited about Eurovision for a little while. After the highs of Liverpool, the disappointment of Malmö, and a little bit of resurgence in Basel, the last few months and the uncertainty of what's happening in 2026 has really, really affected me. And that's why I could never commit to what I was going to do for 2026. So, yeah, that's where I am today. I feel the irony of the powers that be, aka the EBU, accommodating or turning a blind eye by not punishing Israel for its manipulation within Eurovision. I'm not talking about geopolitical events. If we want to go there, well, if we want to be Martin Green and ignore that and talk about the song contest, Israel clearly manipulated last 2 years, and we know that they were given a a letter from, I can't remember exactly, but someone in the EBU sent them a letter. And I think it was the Spanish broadcaster that released that or leaked it. So they received a letter, but that's it. There's been no punishment. Why? You set the rules up to change, right? A little bit, but you still don't punish the broadcaster. Yet, if someone pushes or touches a camera person, they get disqualified. Yeah, I'm talking about Yoast. So they get disqualified. Fair enough. Yeah, I agree. That wasn't cool. But you manipulate a vote. You involve your government to change the spirit of the contest, and because the government is associated with with Eurovision, that government is committing a genocide, and you're turning a blind eye. Nah. You're basically saying that a shove is more offensive and dangerous than a genocide. No fucking way. And Martin, you talk about this is a contest between broadcasters. Tell me, so the flag parade, are we going to see flags of the broadcasters' insignia instead of the country? So yeah, clearly it's about the country. Yes, the broadcasters are taking part, but on behalf of their country. So you can't say it's not about the country. And yeah, it's not lost on me that Israel's got its own way again. And like it does in real life, as in the West Bank and the rest of Palestine, people are leaving. Broadcasters are leaving, or at least suspending their participation. It reminds me of the hundreds of thousands of Palestinians that have been forced out of their home so Israel can have their own cake and eat it too. Yeah. So yeah, I'm quite expecting a lot of Zionists to come at me in the comments saying that I'm so anti-Semitic. No, I'm not. I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm critical. I'm critical of the Israeli government's actions in its, warfare, in its ability to manipulate cultural events such as Eurovision. Let me be absolutely clear. This is about human decency. No more, no less. Doing the right thing. One country is being allowed to whitewash their actions through Eurovision as a way to say that they're lovely and perfect, when the fact is we know what's going on. We can see through the bullshit, the propaganda. I'm reminded to go back to Malmo, and a lot of fans remember the Angelina Mango singing Imagine in the press centre. Funnily enough, that was the only time I was actually in the press centre that year. I'd actually gone in to see what was going on, and I was at a desk, and all of a sudden I hear John Lennon's Imagine. It's like, what? And then all the press surrounding them. So that was a surreal moment. And I just think back to that and where we are today. I mean, this may sound like it's coming from a hateful place. It's not. It's coming from a loving place. I love Eurovision. I'm just so disappointed and angry of what it's become at the moment to placate one country. And with that, I will take my leave and think about what's going to happen next. I'll continue with the Wind Machine podcast. We're focusing on the past, the 60s and the 50s. So there's probably be about 8 or 9 episodes to go on that, and that'll finish up next year. But there'll be no content on the podcast related to 2026. There'll be no YouTube reactions on this channel. There may or may not be some sort of critical analysis of the EBU's actions. So watch this space. But until then, that's me. Whether you like it or not, it's raw. It's mostly unedited with a few cuts here. I'll just go back to being me, the invisible middle-aged white man. Catch you later.